everyone. This is Amanda Breeze, Community Manager at the BTA. And I'm really excited today because we have a chance to have a one-on-one chat with Chad Taylor, who is the Manager of Product Innovation at FIGR in PEI. Chad, how are you doing today?
Hey, Amanda, I'm great. Just enjoying the nice snowstorm that March brought in here on PEI, but it's sun's still shining and just it's all great here. How about yourself?
You know what? Equally snowy here in Toronto, and I think we're both ready for winter to be over.
100%. Now that my Leafs are kind of on the decline, weather's starting to go, dust off the golf clubs, I'm ready.
Oh. Nice. And like, obviously you work at FIGR, so you're a cannabis consumer, but like, do you ever grow at home? Are you like a home grower also?
I had them on the odd time, but it's kind of tricky with like the weather here outside and kind of living in town. But I do try to get the odd couple of plants, but more of just like, I appreciate the work that goes into it and leave it to the experts essentially for that.
You know what? I totally agree. Every year I put out a couple seeds and maybe they'll grow like 5 to 10 inch plants, like teeny little things.
Just to say you're trying.
Yeah, it's just nice to look at them, and you know, the energy of the plant is great. So what's it like in cannabis in PEI? Like, what's the scene like there?
It's a slow like PEI. It's more like that Nirvana song, "Come as You Are," as Kurt Cobain says. It's just like you find there's your niche markets, and they kind of stay true, but we don't really have big consumption lounges or anything. Honestly, it's the beach that's the consumption lounge here. It's probably, in my opinion, the best kind of consumption lounge because we're government retailers as opposed to private, so it's not as in your face as you'll find in Toronto. We're getting there. We're island vibes, in no hurry. We grow great weed, but we're staying true.
I mean, that sounds like classic cannabis culture, right? You're just meeting up on the beach, hanging out with your friends, smoking a FIGR blunt.
100%. No, that's the best kind of vibes. The beaches and blunts.
That sounds delightful. We just need the sun. We just need some hot weather.
Yeah, and not looking at the snow-covered roads and everything.
I'm so curious about your job. Like, I actually think it's a job that many people would aspire to have, like product innovation in the cannabis industry. What exactly do you do?
It's a lot of project management. So we can kind of start from the back. Like I born and raised in PEI, went to school in UPEI, graduated in 2018, and then started with Canada's Island Garden, or FIGR, as many people know, a week after legalization. So way back when we were just in the seed days, if you will. And as we kind of developed as a company and expanded into like our greenhouse facility, I was in supply chain, so more or less working for ordering packaging, kind of seeing if there's any kind of new packaging out in the world and kind of suggesting that. And I kind of really liked like the project management aspect of it, the newness of just like kind of challenging yourself, finding what fits in the market. And then a spot opened up as the product innovation manager about 4 years ago. So I transitioned from supply chain to commercial, which is marketing and sales here in Canada's Island Garden, and been in this position for about 4 years. Doesn't seem like it. Seems like it was about yesterday starting in here, but that's the fast pace of the cannabis industry and even faster paced world of the innovation cycle.
You landed in this role, you worked your way up to that position. What does a work day look like to you, or like a work week? Like, tell me about what it is that you're doing.
So as I mentioned, it's a lot of project management in that you really need to like be focused on what the sales data and the eye test, as you will. I'm a big hockey guy, so it's always analytics and the eye test. So it's no different in the cannabis industry of forecasting what the consumer really wants, where the unit sales are driving to, as well as even just like the cannabis industry as a whole, like just with reg changes and everything. So you just got to be on top of that. It's very, very fast paced, but I love it. It's just more of like, again, with the project management from ideation to shelf. So it's a lot of data analytics, do have to be a little proficient in Excel, which is I'm always kind of learning in that. But then also reading that data, finding the trends, finding spots, and biggest thing is understanding your company's capabilities of what our capacity is and how we can fit our capacity in with the white space, because we can create all this great fancy or kind of a product, but if it's very hard to kind of do, then it doesn't really make sense for everyone, as because you don't spend enough time in there developing it. You're just kind of going in like kind of glass half full, and when you kind of do that, it never really takes off.
How does it start? You're obviously working with plants, you're working with weeds, so the plant is growing, you guys have locked in your genetics. Like, where does the innovation come in?
Yeah, so like we do like innovation meetings where we have department heads are in this meeting, and we're just like ideation, just any kind of product that we feel that we can best do and really put our name behind the quality of it in the market. And it's like, be honest, right now we have an innovation department of one, and that's just me. But what that really should tell you is how keen and how open of our other department heads and their teams, so willing to do out of scope stuff for the betterment and the improvement and the kaizen of our organization. It's really like when I look back at like what we launched throughout the last year of like blunts, hash, cold cured resin, new hardware in the 510s and all-in-ones, and even kind of getting into the formulation, different kind of formulation changes. It's like I'm just the guy beating the drum of like saying where it goes. The true heroes are sitting in this room when it's full in time of the innovation meeting, and really kind of executing on all of that through, if it's like supply chain, getting packaging, like perfect packaging for the products, the quality team of like getting all the paperwork and making sure it's great quality for the consumer, and then the production team just being so open to some process changes, because as humans we kind of tend to don't like change, and that's okay. But it's a really like a hat tip of the team that we have here, of like the true innovators of Canada's Island Garden, where I hold the title, but it's a team for sure.
Like, you have this idea, you're like, we want to bring a blunt to market. Obviously you didn't invent blunts, they exist. So how are we finessing, like in these little processes of, let's say, bringing a blunt to market? Like, we're doing upgrades, you guys have the glass tip filter, you have like specific airflow, there's all these amazing features. Is that part of your role, is discovering new ways to improve these iconic consumption methods?
100%. It's more of like, I'm the ideas man, and the team is the ones that execute it, and fully understanding on what our capabilities of internal. But again, like you said, I'm a consumer. I love blunts, love hash, would smoke them every day if I could. But yeah, it's just the trial. It's the trial and testing that that goes on. Like before even trialing ours, bought a bunch of competitors' blunts and tried them, and really documented everything. Just, it's all for science, right? Bill Nye would be really proud. Got the science suit on and everything, so it's great. But yeah, it's just trialing different blunts in the market, and just finding the perfect fit, and then seeing how internal we can make that. Whether it's like, it may not be A that you like, but like it could be A.1, where it's just like a slight tweak where it can satisfy everyone's needs internally, and then actually perhaps be even improvement externally for the consumer. It's about finding that balance of internal and external factors, and every day is different for sure.
So you must have to be like really detail oriented to be able to like, taste test a few different things. I feel like you're trying a bunch of products and you can say, I really don't like this one, but it has to be more than the taste, right? Because like, you're always going to be bringing in your inputs. Maybe it's like how the paper is burning. I feel like you can identify negatives, but then in terms of finding positives, like how are you balancing creating and innovating new products?
It's that's a great question. It's you're always going into when you're tasting it's either a different strain or a different product with an open mind and like kind of not with any kind of, no, I wouldn't say bias of like that product or that brand previous. It's like essentially smoking for the first time. What went well, what didn't, what do I think needs to change into this? And then once we kind of come into that end state of like that ideal, then it's bringing it back to the team and just seeing how as a collective group can we make this the best we can for our consumers.
Interesting. With FIGR, have you guys implemented something that just blew your mind? You're like, this was the greatest thing we could have come up with.
It's not really like any new kind of thing. It's just what we do and then like what we do and what we do best and then perfecting that. Like we did a whole bunch of facility upgrades, turning the greenhouse into more of like an indoor facility because as you know, in PEI, humidity is insane in the summer. And then you throw a greenhouse on top of that, that's humidity times humidity. So tailoring all of our facilities to grow and then also our production for the actual growing, like changing to drip irrigation, plant spacing. So every different kind of bud, especially at the bottom, gets that equal amount of light. It's just really putting and focusing the care and the love to the plant. And like humans, cannabis plants are very different. So each plant deserves and does get their required certain amount of nutrients, where before it was just into one bucket and then letting the plant kind of pull out from there. Then also kind of with our grow blocks, just extending the avenue our roots can go down so our plants can get more full and just develop more beautiful colas. It's then along with the trimming process, it's been insane how much of a 180 production and innovation has changed in my time from Canada's Island Garden. And again, it just gets back to that team. Like I mentioned, just the stakeholders in the innovation meeting, but the cultivation team has just been absolutely on fire there. Sheila and Katie are head growers. They have just been absolutely amazing with pheno hunting as well. Just absolutely killing it.
You know, it's kind of funny because these are amazing upgrades, like extending down the roots, making sure the whole plant is hit with light, fixing up your space to address the humidity issues, which every single place you grow is going to have different sets of problems. We're also very wet here in Ontario. It's exactly. You have to start to adjust. So, but these are like the less glamorous innovations and upgrades, but makes for the best quality product. So root extending, not so flashy.
But the end state is amazing. And like you can see it with our buds and just like every bag that you open up. I'm an ounce smoker, so I love those 28 gram bags. And it's just big, beautiful buds. It's crazy. The weight of them, it's crazy. Love it.
Yeah, the bag appeal. I learned that FIGR is actually one of the fastest growing LPs last year, which is amazing.
It is.
And that you guys are 100% independently owned and operated.
100%. All the owners are based out of here in PEI. Just great group of people to work with in PEI. So like small enough, so you know some people and you run into them in the grocery store or even the hockey rink on Saturday mornings as I go see my nephew play. It's that small community where people have their expertise and coming together and then just kind of building on the expertise and just doubling down on it. It's just like couldn't say enough of good things about the ownership group and the freedom that they've given us.
I learned some interesting facts about FIGR over the past few weeks. For example, you guys do year-round pheno hunting, which is amazing. So you guys are really seeking out the best of the best and testing them before even considering bringing it to markets. You guys have an amazing testing process in the gardens. I also learned that you guys use rainwater recycling, which is cool.
We have our own well, so I guess I was complaining about the snow, but it has its benefits, right? So any more snow, the water's got to go somewhere, so it goes right into our own well there. So it's just trying to reuse and recycle.
And then also you guys have custom drying and curing rooms. And one of the fun facts about FIGR is that you cycle the air more frequently per hour than hospitals.
Yeah, that was a tidbit that I was surprised about, but it's awesome, and you do see it in the quality as well. But we do have like about our drying chambers that we have evenly spaced our racks out, and yeah, you can. It's like the air exchange in there is absolutely incredible. Like you said, more than an operating room.
Yeah, that's just a fun fact.
Yeah, it's a fun fact, but it's also like that's the quality and the care that like we put in. So like we do stand behind every bag or every jar that you open or every pre-roll that you smoke.
So like FIGR truly stands out for its cultivation techniques, it's the way that you guys are operating the growing rooms, the inputs that you're using, like custom rooms that you've built, but also you guys have some very unique processing techniques to create your end products. So one of them is the cold cured resin. Well, I think your cold cured resin and also your traditional hash to me stands out in your product line as being like very innovative for the industry.
And with the cold cured resin, it's more of a teaming up with a very good supplier on the actual extraction, but it's coming 100% from our flower and returning as 100% cold cured resin. But if you're not familiar with the whole cold cured difference between the live resin, it's just more of a it's nothing that's like it's a knock on any of them. It's just a different experience and a different taste where the live resin is fresh frozen right from the plant, so there's no drying in there. We actually dry the cannabis before we extract it, so the terpenes that you'll find in the 510 cart is ones that you would find in a pre-roll that you would smoke. So there's that correlation, that the easy identifier where sometimes the live resins can be too lemony, kind of too like lemon pledgy. Again, not saying that they're bad or anything. It's just a different, I seen that there wasn't many cured resins, especially cold cured resins on the market. So kind of went a different way and kind of doubling down on the sesquiterpene terpene profile there and trying to get that into the market and just paving our own way with the resin format there. And it's be an experience that you'll commonly find in like a joint, mirroring that over to a resin or a vape.
People love pre-rolls. People love smoking flower. That's, the classic move. So moving it into a cart and being able to get that same flavor profile that
from the great strains and everything.
That's very cool.
Yeah. So very, very happy how that is, and just looking forward to kind of extend that out towards our 5 hero strains over the course of this next fiscal coming out. And then for the hash, since it's solventless, we do that in-house, 100% of that in-house, press the hash indoors. We don't do strain agnostic hash just because, again, we kind of felt that one SKU, and it's kind of a tip to the hat to all of our cultivars and how well they group together and really provide a nice uplifting experience. But we do that in-house, and then we just add a little bit of the cold cure resin to it just for that malleability, just so it's easier to use. It rolls up nice logs, so you can put it in your Happle or even just roll it into a joint. It's great. I'm getting excited. It's Friday. I might go to the store and buy some hash and smoke it in my Happle tonight.
Now check it out. I mean, I just think I like that you nodded to the 5 hero strains, because that's something I actually found really interesting about FIGR. I mean, you have a compact product line that all feeds into and supports all the other products. So using those 5 strains to create the hash, but then bringing in the cold cured resin to make it more malleable, like that is like the perfect symbiosis of a product line that's easy to remember.
You're just branching on, you're growing the bulk, and then you're just kind of branching on out from there. Back to your what you were saying about the trials and the cultivation trials, is that we probably go through 20 different pheno hunt trials, and we don't even trial like just once. We put it through the trial probably at least 3 to 4 times. So once we launch a strain, we're confident. We know that it's going to work. It tastes great. The buds are great. We have like full confidence, and like we can stand behind it, whether that's a bag in PEI or a bag in BC or a bag in Nunavut.
Of the 5 top strains, which we're leaving a mystery, we haven't even named them yet, but what's the one that stands out to you the most? Like, do you have a personal favorite of the collection?
100%. It's Jungle Fumes. That's
really?
it's been our, like, basically our day one. It's a very adaptable strain to grow. The grow teams love growing it. It smells amazing. The effects are, at least for like, it's a heavy sativa. So for me, as a like more of a chronic smoker, like it's right up my alley. But it's also great for your just kind of sitting in the garage on a Friday night with your friends, and it's great social smoke as well. But all of our strains really offer different kind of experience. Like I was saying with Jungle Fumes and the sativa, but it's really gassy. Like when we first launched it, it was so gassy you could almost throw it in a chainsaw and light that puppy up. But then we also have a complement in Meloman of a heavy indica, but that's more of like a cherry vanilla, so you're kind of smooth cherry tasting experience. And that is a heavy indica. So you're like, I always say my face is getting heavy. So I usually try to do that kind of before bed and just kind of ease into the night. And I'm a big aftertaste guy, especially smoking pre-rolls, and Meloman just leaves just a beautiful, beautiful vanilla cherry aftertaste. Then we go into Candy Cake with that Animal Cookies lineage. It's a very nice, kind of not like a heavy indica, but still an indica, a nice like throughout your kind of daily indica, your wake and bake indica, if you will. Getting up for that Sunday morning of the F1, having a coffee, and then getting your indica, your Candy Cake indica. It's about that. It's about that balance, right? Your caffeine and your indica to start a Sunday morning, and then rolling into Chatty Cathy. The strain really lives up to the name. It's like your festival smokes is probably the best way I can describe it, where it's like uplifting. You're one with the music on cloud 9, literally, but you're not spaced out of it. You are a chatterbox. It's a very, very social, uplifting, like perfect for those festivals in the summers. Our last one is Midnight Sherb. This one's our newest one. It is a sativa, and like with the Sherb call out, some of the like legacy feedback on that, it's like Sherbs are kind of more indica leaning. But as we trialed this and kind of tailored it to our environment and grow conditions, we noticed that the acai berry of the lineage really came through. And you can notice that in the terpenes with the osami kind of in the second dominant. So it's really more sativa leaning, and even with our feedback from our trials, like it's been very, very uplifting, kind of energizing, creative kind of strain, where you would think like as a Midnight Sherb being more of an indica, but it's just how it kind of adapted to our growing conditions that like it adjusted more to the acai berry lineage of it. So I found that very, very interesting, because you're kind of going into anticipating one, and then your growing conditions kind of suggest another thing.
Like a happy little accident.
Yeah, no, 100%. And we're just coming out with that. So we're really excited on that one, because like the beautiful, beautiful buds, and yeah, I can't say enough good things about it. I'm very excited to see how that one does.
Oh, nice. Well, I really appreciate that, because I feel like, there was this era of like the Tropicana where like orange really took over and like the citrus profiles really took over. But I'm like a 2011 classic Blue Dream girl. So I just love like a berry.
The pink cushes.
Yeah. And, pink kush is on the rise, but it's like, there's like a lot of delicious flavors when grown right that you can discover. So these hints of vanilla, the hints of acai berry, like every strain, cherry, like it's another rare flavor that doesn't always come out. So I think that's really interesting. Do you think it's because of the PEI growing conditions that we're getting all these like robust flavors?
As a data guy, I love my numbers, and I can't really put any numbers onto that because it's your growing conditions. So I'm pretty sure it likely has a factor where it's just like how we offset the humidity, if that's reacting with the growing conditions, and how we see that. But it's I would say it's just a bunch of different factors. Like, again, gets back to that team and the commitment that they have and the passion that they bring to work every day. In the cannabis industry, I think you've really got to be passionate of what you do and what you grow, and to really kind of see some success into it, where if you're not putting the love into it, how could someone else really enjoy the love, if you will?
This is true. So what I find interesting is you have these top 5 hero strains, and then you're doing them in different formats. So some is dried flower, some, one strain might be a blunt, cold cured resin, like the carts. You might have another one that's like pre-rolls and blunts. You have all of these, these 5 strains, and then you're choosing which categories they fall into. Is there a method to that madness, deciding like which gets to be the blunt?
There's a method in the madness, but it's more of like launch strategies. It's more of like just when the timing of the different formats to come to market. Like, obviously, if your first launch, if you launch at 28, that's going to eat up a lot of your grams, your kgs in your vault. So it's that balance of finding the right formats that you do really well in. Like, for us, it's the 10 packs, the 7 grams, 28s, and 3 by half grams, hitting those thresholds first and then building upon that and really testing the market, because we don't know if it's going to be a hero until we actually launch it, right? And the consumers really enjoy it. So once that kind of starts to be a trigger of like, okay, sales is really strong, or even increasing the demand on that, let's throw another like production run in for the greenhouse, kind of expand that, and then also look into teaming up with the protocol schedules of the different provinces and kind of teaming up and looking at the right pathway to get the rest of the assortment in and whatnot, and then really spider web that strain out into all the different formats. So it's not like a day one, this is going to be a hero and it's going to change and it's going to swap with this strain. It's more of like, let's build it, let's build inventory as well, to kind of, so we don't see the disruptions in demands in case of like the demand did increase, we can fulfill that. So it's that natural organic growth like that we're doing with the flower, but we're also doing that in our business practices as well.
Well, speaking of sales and numbers, I learned that you guys sold 5,500 blunts in December.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's crazy.
That is really crazy.
Yeah. And it like fills my heart a little bit, because that's been my baby since day one. I'm pretty sure everyone in this office is pretty annoyed by me by how much times I talk about blunts. Non-bias, it's one of my favorite products out there, especially with that price point that we got to. So it's I think with that SKU, everyone's winning.
Okay. Well, hey, I'm not sick of hearing about blunts. So like what do you want to tell us about the blunts? Like, what is the standout ingenuity of that product? Like, why is it selling thousands and thousands just in the month of December alone? That's insane.
It's just the quality of like the wrap, like the hemp wrap is like, it's a good, it's like not too thick, not too thin. Once filled, it's solid. It has that glass tip filter instead of ceramic. I feel like some of the ceramic filters out there, their airflow from essentially where the filter starts into where it meets the cannabis, the airflow isn't, I wouldn't say like it's not as ideal as you would want as a consumer. I've seen just some samples. There's just like the airflow is very restricted. And again, for me, of smoking so many joints and blunts, I feel that like that 5 millimeter from that filter is a very important consideration, because as you light your joint, the heat essentially from the joint is coming back, and the last part is always that 5 millimeter part of the joint. So if you're constantly heating that, and there's no way of it to be like kind of loose enough where airflow can get into it, but also wide enough where it doesn't like clog. So it's just that balancing aspect of like that 5 millimeters above the filter. Like you wouldn't think of it as like smoking a joint, where like to me that's the very most important part of your consumer experience, because it's everything passes by that. So it's just finding the perfect filter for that, where when we went with the glass tip, and if you do rip apart our blunt, you can see that there's like about a 2 millimeter little wood filter paper in there. That's only there just to catch the Scooby snacks from falling through. So what's in the blunt stays in the blunt, but you're still getting that full airflow effect of the blunt. The Dutch crown is a very, very nice feature that we do in the house here. It's just for that smoking experience, that nice, even, slow burn. Yeah, so you're like, once you have one of our blunts, you're going to get the real strain experience.
These are details that, like, I mean, maybe you notice while you're smoking, but are you noticing them enough to like clock it and then make it better? Like, so interesting about the ceramic versus glass, that little extra area, the little piece of paper, these are the details. These are
100%, and easier said than done when you're halfway through a joint and you tend to forget. So a little bit old school on my notes. I always have ideas I thought of while stoned. So it's a bunch of gibberish, but it's there's some ideas in there that are pulled to fruition. Do definitely need to write a lot of stuff down.
These are really cool things for the industry, for the company you work for. Like, it's not just, oh, I'm just smoking doobies, like this one, don't like this one. It's like, we're getting into the minutia, we're getting into the details, the literal airflow, a millimeter of a difference. Like, these are huge factors that make products stand out, and find the whole innovation side of it really interesting. And of course, there's going to be loud innovations, and then there's going to be quiet innovations that just make the whole experience so much better that you might not even notice. It's just that good.
Exactly. So I think that's where we're really hitting it out of the park there. It's more of that like quiet innovations, the internal innovations, with that whole Kaizen mentality of continuous improvement. It's just everyone's in the facility, whether it's from Alex, our CEO, or ownership, all the way to our cultivation team, just really adopted that. And just, we work with pretty incredible and smart people here.
So before we close out, do you have any like dream products, like imaginary, maybe could never exist in the world, or maybe could, products that you would love to see in the market?
As a like a legacy kind of smoker and more of a blunt and hash, I just love the mix of just doubling down of a single strain, whether that's a single strain blunt with the single input bubble hash, single input like THCA isolate, or even rosin, like a big, like the Boston cream kind of donuts where you just inject some rosin into it. Oh, something like that, where it's just like, it's not dead up here, but it's like, I just gotta get those wheels turning and just see how we can do it internally, and just kind of get that and perfect it with the passion that we have. And just, yeah, so that's like kind of where my head's going. And it's just always into like, even being the product innovation manager, you're constantly asked like, what's next, what's project 2.0 of this. So it's always thinking on that, and you're just always a year and a half ahead. I'm physically in March 13th here, but mentally I think I'm in the summer, next year's winter, next summer. But yeah, not closing the door on that triple or quadruple infused single source blunt.
I love that. And I'm a huge fan of single source inputs also, because I'm a big flavor and smell girl. So don't get me wrong, there's always room for a salad. We always love a good mixed bag, but there is truly something about experiencing a single high quality, well-grown, lovingly crafted flower from end to end, and you get that full-bodied experience of the entire plant. Like, that is to me like the pinnacle of cannabis consuming.
You're really taking the words out of my mouth.
Yeah, that's what's
that. And I always loved these, especially for PEI. We have this little cafe downtown. It's like I think it was like an old train station, and just being able just to sell like half-gram joints there. Like I would love to bike down, have a coffee, have a joint, and then just be able to walk downtown, enjoy the sights and sounds on the water of downtown Charlottetown. But maybe one day. I'd say we're closer to that than we were years ago. So.
Oh damn! Well, you just named my two favorite things: weed and trains. So count me in. I'll book a flight. We're gonna do it.
Love it. Love to hear it.
All right, cool. Well, anything else you want to add to our chit chat today, Chad, that we didn't get to touch on?
No, I think that's pretty much it.
I just want to remind everyone to check out FIGR's page in the BTA brand hub. We have all the information about the brand, the people behind it, some amazing product features. They're doing amazing stuff on the East Coast for all of Canada. And Chad, thank you so much for chatting with me today.
Awesome. Well, appreciate it.